This is a Storm Track 5 severe weather alert.
All right, so that storm that I had been talking about that had some rotation with it now has turned possibly tornadic, and that cell now producing a tornado warning. You can see the flashing area there in areas of Lee County and also southwestern Scott County, as well as Hancock County and a good portion of central and northern Hawkins County until 7 o'clock this evening. Now, as of about 5 minutes ago when we got the warning, the National Weather Service indicating that a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Sneedville, where that rotation was that I showed you, moving east at about 30 miles per hour. And that storm, again, not a confirmed tornado, but certainly one that could have one as it moves off to the east pretty rapidly now at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. It looks like it may have slowed down just a little bit. But nonetheless, we can show you this as it continues to push off to the east. Pretty quickly now, but the cell that part of the storm that probably has that rotation that has the tornado, you can see the definitely kind of a hook echo structure to that storm as it now moves off to the east, right near and to the north of Sneedville. That storm does extend up into Lee County, pretty close to the Jonesville area. So folks, you need to be taking shelter in that warned area. This does include areas including from near Jonesville south to near and east of Sneedville, and that warning does extend into Scott County. Does include Duffield, as well as it does include areas of Hawkins County and like Edson and also Surgoinsville. I do not believe that it just kind of bumps up to areas of Hawkins County near Rogersville. So let me zoom in a little tighter here and show you the areas that are within this tornado warning. Some of the communities. This does include Church Hill. This does include Surgoinsville. Looks like it's just north, the dangerous part of the storm of Rogersville, but now pushing north of Klondike, and it looks like the structure of the storm that might have the tornado is now pushing east of Sneedville in Hancock County, right along Highway 33, and that dangerous part of the storm extends up to near Kyles Ford in Hancock County, and then up toward the Blackwater area of Lee County. We're getting an update here from the National Weather Service. We do have actually a confirmed tornado now reported near Sneedville, moving east at about 30 miles per hour. That is where the rotation is. Let me go ahead and look at this a little bit better here and show you where we got the possibility of that tornado. We'll put on the velocity here and show you the strong winds that are associated with this storm. So the National Weather Service is indicating that a confirmed tornado and possible $half size hail is with this storm as it moves now just east of Hazard, Kentucky, or I should say near Sneedville, Kentucky, Sneedville in Hawkins County, Hancock County, sorry, moving east at about 30 miles per hour, and that would put, let me see here. All right. Guys, my computer is locking up. Who's on my computer? Get off it, please. Someone is trying to access this, and I need this. Hey, Nick, if you can hear me, tell WSI to get off my computer. If they are, there we go. Okay. There is the circulation that is showing up here near Kyles Ford. The wind speed, pretty intense speed there. Let me see if we can put the velocity on there for you. Right in here, just south of Kyles Ford, showing a 65-mile-an-hour speed, a gust of wind, and of course this is at radar level. So if the storm is emanating from the radar coming from Morristown, so you're talking, a number of thousands of feet above the ground. So that doesn't necessarily mean you're looking at sustained winds of 65 miles per hour, but up at the radar level right there, that does indicate the likelihood of some very strong winds aloft. And then as we go on the other side here, other opposite, the shear, if you will, the couplet, not as strong on the other side. But this it would be the area, it looks like, where that possible tornado would be in this area of Hancock County. With areas around Kyles Ford, right along Highway 33 in the central and eastern portions of Hancock County now. Again, this storm is moving to the east at about 35 miles per hour. We can show you that a little bit closer now as this storm continues to rapidly push off to the east. So if you are in the path of this storm, of course, we do want to obviously urge you to take shelter immediately right now with areas in a home would be in the lowest level of your home on the interior section. If possible, make sure you have protection around you, staying away from windows. Perhaps if you can grab some blankets or helmet or even some pillows to kind of surround you or cover your head to make sure that you are protected from any flying debris. The area that would be least safe would be across, of course, on the upper levels. So if you are living in perhaps an area that is in a multi-structure, maybe an apartment or a school or a hospital or something like that, you should have designated shelter places areas to take shelter. Let's see here. So here's an update at 6:29, just got it from the National Weather Service, that the confirmed tornado was about 9 miles east of Sneedville, moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and load that up, if you will. And that tornado warning now pushing really right along Highway Route 33 in eastern Hancock County and moving east at about 30 miles per hour. Let's do a bit of a track on this and let you know what areas are going to be impacted by this storm as it continues to push off to the east. So we'll just kind of roughly go from this area of Lee County and then right there in the eastern Hancock County and then to the northern part of Hawkins County and push it off to the east at about 30 miles per hour, and that would take it to near Idson, really about on top of Idson right now, and also Horton's Island about 6:38, and around 6:49, Cold Springs around 6:57. It looks like 6:57 on Okolona, 7:03 around Church Hill. And then areas around Mount Carmel around 7:09, and then this would be pushing it into the Kingsport area. Not necessarily saying this will still have a twister or tornado with it at this time at 7:15, but that's when the part of the storm that is most intense now is going to be pushing into Sullivan County around Kingsport, around the Ridgefields Country Club around 7 to 7:15, Holston Valley Medical Center around 7:21, and of course this would include areas around Kingsport in Sullivan County and also Hilton's in Scott County, as this storm continues pushing off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and do a quick look here at how the velocity is shaping up right now. And you can see that we still have that really intense area of wind in the area where the radar is intercepting the storm. You can see the brighter areas here just to the east of Kyles Ford now, it looks like, with winds measured by Doppler radar estimated at 59 miles per hour. And then we got still that rotation that is showing up just to the, we got the darker areas of red and the orange there, and we got the opposing wind field that is just north of Kyles Ford. So this is kind of in an area that where we think that possible tornado, or at least confirmed tornado. I don't have any information necessarily right now as to if there's been any damage or exactly where that confirmed tornado has touched down. But the last report from the National Weather Service indicating that that storm was about 9 miles east of Sneedville as of 6:30. And I can pull back a little bit and show you where Sneedville is back here. And so it was about 9 miles off to the east of that when that warning was updated. And let me see if I can show you where that, daggone it. There we go. So if we go about 9 miles, so that that's about where that rotation is. You can see from Sneedville, where I was pointing out those stronger winds and the opposing winds in the low mid levels of that storm structure right now. So folks, and of course Kyles Ford already, I'm sure, taking shelter from this storm, and areas especially near north of Idson in Hawkins County, and it looks like the more dangerous part of the storm would be just south of Blackwater and Lee County, and would be heading toward Hortons Island, which is in Hancock County, as that storm continues to push off to the east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So let's put the reflectivity on here once again. You can see where the heavy rain is, and the storm that has that tornado that I was kind of measuring where the confirmed tornado was east of Sneedville at 6:30 continues to race pretty quickly off to the east. So the danger would now be in areas of eastern Hancock County. Right here we got that little kind of arm-like extension from Kyles Ford toward Hortons Island up toward Blackwater in Lee County, and getting very close to areas of northwest parts of Hawkins County in East Tennessee near north of Idson. So as we kind of pan to the south a little bit, I can say pretty safely that the storm that has the possible tornado staying north of Rogersville, and got some new development though here just north of Rogersville. You can see right there, that is not being warned for. What is being warned for is the storm that's now beginning to press out of into the far eastern part of Hancock County near Kyles Ford, Hortons Island, and also into the southeast part of Lee County. So that storm is now moving into parts of Scott County as well. So just a heads up that areas in Scott County, zooming a little bit tighter here, it's largely rural sections of Scott County and rural sections of Lee County that would have the tornadic cell beginning to push in here in the next couple of minutes. But as you zoom in, I'll give you some idea here. We got Fairview Road in Scott County, Jennings Store. This would be an area that you need to be taking shelter right now. And that does extend, as I mentioned, into extreme eastern part of Hancock County, and then also into parts of Hawkins County. The tornadic part of this storm is north of Striggersville and north of Belvins, and to the northwest of Surgoinsville, even though we are still seeing some new development firing up here. But that is not the cell that has the possible tornado. What does have that circulation with it right now is kind of running right where Lee, Scott, and Hancock County come together, right along the Tennessee and Virginia state line. And we'll go ahead and do a storm track and give you an update on where that storm may be impacting areas here over the next hour. And I'll do that right now. Draw that line, push it forward. I'm going to do back up just a little bit. That's not the right one, but let me get to a new one. I kind of ran out of space for my track. But right through here in western Scott County, eastern Hancock, and the northwest part of Hawkins County is where that tornadic cell is, and pushing off to the east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So just kind of running over again some of those communities and towns and areas that would be within the strike of this possible tornadic cell. Right now, basically around Hortons Island there on the eastern side of most side of Hancock County. Sloantown around 650, that's in Scott County. That would be running up along U.S. Highway 23 as it continues to push off to the east around Okolona at 656. Carter's Valley Elementary School in Hawkins County about 703, Mount Carmel about 709, Gate City about 713, and then of course in Scott County just north of Kingsport, and then in Kingsport it looks like Holston Valley Medical Center around 721. Kingsport, of course, we're talking Kingsport and Hilton's area there near the Tennessee and Virginia state line, or Arcadia, around 7:31. Again, that's not necessarily indicating that this storm will be still producing a tornado, but as of right now, as the latest update from the National Weather Service, the confirmed tornado in Hancock County about 6:30, and that was reported around 9 miles east of Sneedville and moving east at about 30 miles per hour. So I would say that the area of danger with this storm currently would be in this zone here, stretching from north of Idson in Hawkins County to just south of and west of Duffield in Scott County. So it's kind of beginning to push now, at least the tornadic part of the storm, east of Blackwater, east of Jonesville. Now, no tornadic cell heading your way in that part of Lee County or points north, really, but kind of between Idson and Hortons Island and Duffield is where that tornadic storm continues to push off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So here's an update as of about 6:38. The National Weather Service in Morristown indicating that a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located about 8 miles northwest of Sneedville, or about 10 miles north of Rogersville, moving east at about 30 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and kind of look at that and show you where that is. Let me kind of get a little bit different perspective here and put both Rogersville. So it's about 8 miles to the north of, about right up here to the northwest of Burgoynesville, and about 10 miles north of Rogersville. So we could go like this. So we kind of put it right through here, right in there where we've been talking on the most eastern section of Hancock County, looking to be where that tornadic cell is currently. Now, at one point we had confirmed report of a tornado and a possible $50 high hail. Now we have the last report, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So I'm not sure if we have a tornado on the ground still, but still the danger is very imminent, and folks that are in the path of this storm need to be taking shelter immediately, and to go over some of the safety tips. I can show you that graphic right now, and we do have that for you. And Casey and Rebecca, I'll let you guys take it from here.
Hey, Dave, you're doing a fantastic job. We really appreciate you working so hard to keep people safe out there. Let's talk about if you're in a home, get to the lowest floor. Before we get to that, let's talk about mobile homes, Casey, because those folks really are not safe. In the case of a tornado, it is super important that you head to a sturdier shelter. If you know of someone who has a house nearby, it is really important that you find a safer place. Is there a church? Is there a school that's open? Just, if you can, please exit your mobile home. But let's start with the house, Casey.
Yeah, obviously you want to be at the lowest interior room in the house. I know Dave talked about this earlier. If you have a football helmet, a bicycle helmet, anything like that to have with you just in case. And as Rebecca said, you want to get out of those mobile homes if at all possible. But in a home, get to the lowest level interior room. You know, sometimes the bathroom in the first floor is a good place for that interior room where you're not really up against one of the outside walls.
Yeah, and in a bathtub is always highly recommended. If you all could squeeze in there, grab some pillows, blankets, there could be a whole lot of debris flying around, so it's very important that you are protected. And also, we want to make sure that if you're in an apartment building or if you're in an office situation, that you get to the lowest floor and to the innermost part of that building. Under a stairwell is highly recommended in a cement building, like an office building.
And Dave's going to kind of reset his graphics here. We'll certainly check back with him momentarily for an update on where the storms are moving and the one that he was watching. And Dave, you just let us know when you're ready to jump back
let's
in.
go ahead and come back, and we'll take a look at how this storm has been progressing here since you guys have kind of gone through some of that safety information. A recap now until 7 o'clock. We do have tornado warning in effect for portions of portions of northwest Hawkins County. This does involve areas kind of between Churchill and Surgoinsville along 11W, and then points west toward the rural sections up toward Idson. But again, just from the latest information that we got from the National Weather Service, that the cell that potentially had the tornadic, circulation and rotation with it was kind of further north of 11W, pretty close to the Tennessee and Virginia state line. But that tornado warning for areas of Hancock, Hawkins, Lee, and Scott County will remain in effect until 7 o'clock, and indicating possible up to half-dollar sized hail. Earlier, we did have a confirmed tornado near Sneedville initially, and then about 9 miles east of Sneedville. That last confirmed report came in about 6:38, and currently the cell that has the possible tornado with it. I'm going to take the warnings and the polygons off here and show you that the storm is continuing to push off to the east. Let me take a look at the velocity with this now. When I gave you that last update from the National Weather Service about where that possible rotation was, it was kind of right up here to about 8 miles west of Surgoinsville and about 10 miles north of Rogersville in Hawkins County. So it's I think going to stay that rotation within that storm would stay north of the larger communities and cities in Hawkins County, which we run along Highway 11W up from Rogersville, Surgoinsville, Churchill, Mount Carmel, and then of course we then would move into Sullivan County beyond that. But right now, let's put the velocity on here and show you where we have perhaps the zoom in a little tighter here. It looks like we may be losing perhaps, let me just back up a little bit, make sure I'm getting the right radar. Zoom in a little tighter here. So there you can see, there's Rogers, Surgoinsville, and there's Churchill, there's Childs 4, there's Blackwater, and up here would be Duffield, those 4 or 5 arrows there showing some of the larger communities. But it would appear that still that looks like maybe weaker, but not completely dissipated. But the weaker circulation, it looks like, would be near Horton's Island right now. As we zoom in a little tighter here, you can see the little weakness in the negative field of wind right now. Right through here, and let me just got a new scan. Let's zoom in and do that again. So perhaps right here and right here, you can see now that the opposing wind field at radar level is now a little bit lower. The gate-to-gate shear there is still evident, and still the circulation there sufficiently strong enough that we still could have a tornado. But again, it looks like it would be pretty close to the Tennessee and Virginia border. Let me circle that area. Probably right in this zone right here is probably the area that we are most likely looking at if there is a tornado on the ground, that it is probably occurring right in that area there of extreme eastern Hancock County, kind of the southwest parts of Scott County in Virginia, and then it looks like it's largely to the north of Hawkins County, but folks in northwest Hawkins County still need to be taking shelter until we can give an all clear. That warning's still in effect for about 13 more minutes. It does look like, as I see some, the new sweep radar images coming in here, that perhaps regarding reflectivity, you can see that maybe the more bright red colors, the orange that even had some magenta earlier, that darker kind of purpley color, that has kind of dropped off as far as the color, and that would indicate that perhaps we're seeing perhaps not as intense weather. Let's put the lightning on there right now for that area as well. I'll zoom in a little tighter here. between, looks like the two low cells have kind of merged. That area that was developing between Surgoinsville and Rogersville, kind of merging with the cell that is to the northwest that did prompt the tornado warning. But let's put on the amount of lightning strikes. Let's see. So 72. I believe the last time we did that for this storm, that was about 143, and this is about in a 15-minute period. So still some really intense lightning, but it does appear that maybe the lightning has cut about in half in its frequency here over the past, whatever it was, maybe 10 or 15 minutes when I last showed you that particular product, the lightning product of our PowerFi Doppler radar. So don't let your guard down, but it does appear perhaps that maybe the storm is showing some signs of weakening. Let me see if I'm getting any new information from the National Weather Service. So it looks like probably the National Weather Service indicating that at 7 o'clock, the National Weather Service probably will let the tornado warning drop, but continue with the tornado possible tag, which is kind of how this whole warning began. It began with a severe thunderstorm warning with possible tornado, and then it was upgraded to a tornado warning. So that may be what we have occurring in the next warning that updates from the National Weather Service at 7 o'clock. But still a very powerful storm, and one that until that warning expires, need to treat it as a possible, tornado warned storm. Even when a severe thunderstorm doesn't have a tornado warning with it, it still can produce damaging winds that can, produce tornado-like damage, maybe weak tornado-like damage, but nonetheless can still produce winds up to 60 or 70 miles per hour as it pushes off to the north. Now, I did want to let you know that we also do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the northern part of Wise County, and that's for that cell that is now approaching U.S. Highway 23 in Wise County. That does not include Letcher County. It stops at the border, but National Weather Service is going with a severe thunderstorm warning that until 7:30. This does, you can see it flashing there. That cell is now bearing down on areas from near Whitesburg and Jenkins in Letcher County, and also does include the northern part of Wise County. So this does not have Wise or Norton in that warning until 7:30, but it does have a severe thunderstorm warning effect for the northern part of Wise County, and this is just right now moving across, that major highway of Wise County. So folks need to be kind of battening down the hatches here, as that wind could produce gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and perhaps some hail, perhaps up to maybe nickel-sized hail, as it now is right over Pound, right over Jenkins, and we are seeing some heavy rain pushing into the Norton and Wise area, but the potential for a destructive wind or wind gusts that would reach severe levels is more likely on the northern part of the storm in Wise County. But again, that severe thunderstorm warning for areas of Wise County, especially north of Wise, this does include Pound, that warning in effect until 7:30. For that part of Wise County in southwest Virginia. But of course, we continue to keep an eye on showers and thunderstorms that continue across areas of Scott County and also Hawkins County. It looks like the danger of any tornadic activity would be out of Lee County now and out of Hancock County, and still that warning remains in effect for about another 7 or 8 minutes for areas near and north of Surgoinsville up toward Church Hill. That cell continues to pretty rapidly push off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. And we'll be approaching Kingsport very, very quickly. I'm hopeful that we will not have a tornadic warned storm as it comes into Kingsport, but never say never, because storms can flare up, they can die down, and they can flare right back up. But putting the storm track on there and show you that this storm is pretty much right on the Surgoinsville area of Hawkins County along 11W, moving toward Church Hill, Mount Carmel, around 7:06, so just a few minutes away there in the eastern part of Hawkins County, and then up toward Gate City around 7:11, and then moving into the Kingsport area probably before 7:20, because this is probably that Kingsport is probably the heart of the center of Kingsport when it says 7:21, but it'll be pushing in the western part of the Kingsport area prior to that. But Colonial Heights around 7:32. Sullivan Central, Tri-Cities Airport now showing up on this particular storm track, which is Tri-Cities Airport, at about 7:44, and into Washington County, Virginia, around Benhams at 7:52. National Weather Service just a couple of minutes ago indicating there still is some decent low-level rotation within that storm. So at least through 7 o'clock, that tornado warning will remain in effect for the areas that we're talking about, which is put the warning up again. That does include areas of northwest Hawkins County and western Scott County until again 7 o'clock. So that's about 5 or 6 minutes away. But folks in the New Canton area, let me just zoom in a little tighter here and just show you some of the areas that are going to be under the gun with this storm. I'll leave the tornado warning polygon up there. You can see the pretty intense weather now near Surgoinsville and Blevins, toward Webb Hollow, and then extending up toward Cold Springs, and just to the west of Church Hill now. And this storm then moves north toward Okolona, right near the Scott County line, so right near the Tennessee and Virginia state line there, and then into Scott County. So we just got an update with this storm. So the severe thunderstorm warning is going to remain, or is going to take the place of the tornado warning. So this does include areas of eastern Hawkins County. Let me just go ahead and put that new information up here right now, and to show you that warning, the area flashing, that new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 7:45, and that does include parts of the upper, the northern and northeastern parts of Hawkins County, and also parts of Lee County, I think, is pretty much out of. I got the wrong one flashed. That's my bad. Sorry about that. Let me do that over. Make sure I get the right warning flashing. So that does include areas of Hawkins County, Scott County, Sullivan County, and also parts of Washington County, Virginia, not Tennessee. Does not include Washington County, Tennessee, but does extend up to include areas from near Nicholsville to Gate City to Church Hill, to just north and east of Rogersville, to Fall Branch, just near Fall Branch and north toward Piney Flats and Bluff City and Bluntville. And this does include the Kingsport area. Let's see, the National Weather Service says that 7:50 or so, at 6:55 or so, I'm sorry, that was my bad, I read that wrong. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing wind gusts to 60 miles per hour and up to quarter-size hail was located about 10 miles west of Gate City, moving east at 30 miles per hour. So they did tag that warning with still possible tornado, indicating there's still a sufficient low-level rotation that there still might see one develop, though it is less likely than it was with it as it came across eastern Hancock County with that confirmed tornado just east of Sneedville around 6:30 to 6:40. But it does look like at 7 o'clock here in about 2 or 3 minutes that the tornado warning will be allowed to expire and be replaced by the new severe thunderstorm warning, which is flashing there in parts of eastern Hawkins and a good part of central and western Sullivan County. This does include Kingsport, Colonial Heights, Bluntville, and then up into Scott County. It does include Gate City and Nicholsville. It does include parts, I think I left off Russell County there, but does include parts of Russell County just near along Highway 58 there between, just to the west of Hansonville and then up to near Castlewood, that area, and also does include the Benhams area. It just kind of bumps up to and to include areas of Washington County just to the west of Bristol. So meteorologist Kit Alexander is here. Have you learned information about what we've seen? Probably haven't got too much out of that tornadic warm storm yet.
So no, just kind of touching base on what you've already been talking about there. Still just monitoring this tornado warning, although like you had mentioned there, we're waiting for the severe thunderstorm warning to perhaps take priority there with that. Still going to be some strong gusty winds though. Check it out. I mean, we're looking at some bright colors there in the reds, the yellows, the oranges, indicating that we could have some stronger wind gusts, upwards of 60 miles per hour with this cell. And of course, well, you also mentioned hail up to 1 inch in diameter. We can kind of put this out into the future, take a little bit of a better look. Obviously, we're expecting some heavier areas of rain. If the cell holds at the same speed it is currently, would likely be impacting areas around Gate City by 7:11 p.m., around Weber City by 7:14, Hilton's by 7:22, Kingsport, one of the metro areas, 7:25 p.m., Colonial Heights by about 7:33. Also, if it holds together as it is, possibly around Bristol by 8 o'clock this evening. And of course, it's still racing off to the east there pretty quickly. That's something we'll be monitoring.
Yeah, we probably could maybe take a quick look at and see what maybe the velocity is looking like inside the storm a little bit. Let me see if I can get it in here. Let's see here. All right, let's put the velocity on here. You can see it does kind of look like there is still some, opposing wind fields there. It looks like kind of a broad circulation, broad shear, really, not looking nearly as tight as it did earlier.
Correct. Yeah, definitely looking at this, it looks like we're looking at a pretty broad area of rotation. The green's obviously going towards radar, the red's away. And of course, when we put the two together, that will give us the gate-to-gate shear values. These are looking at kind of on the lower range. Obviously, we still need to monitor this as it's still warned, but of course the other concern will be some just gusty winds as this continues to progress off to the east. But yeah, looking at velocities, that would be a general kind of broad area of rotation.
And so we'll put on the lightning strike, see how that's doing, and we'll wrap things up here in just a minute or so. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning continuing in effect for areas from near Burgoynesville, Churchill, up toward Mount Carmel. And that does include areas in Sullivan County near Kingsport and into Scott County. Eventually, it does push into by 7:30 that warning expired. So that appears now that the overall likelihood that there's a tornado with this has dropped off. It's not completely gone away. There is some weak rotation, but right now, Kid, it looks like we may be more concerned with the possibility of some straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour, which of course can do, some damage to trees and power lines and to even some minor structural damage too. Of course, if a tree falls on your house, it can do major structural damage.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's pretty consistent with what we've seen with velocities because the rotation looked pretty broad, and the National Weather Service has tagged this as a tornado possible now versus an actual tornado warning. So not as severe. Nonetheless, the other thing we have to monitor, like you mentioned, Dave, is the stronger wind gusts, possibly up to 60 miles per hour. So certainly not everybody may see that,
right? But
that is certainly possible. If we get some good mixing, possibly down to the surface, that's something we'll have to be concerned about.
And a warning in effect for northern Wise County. That warning until, I believe, 7